Welcome today, weekly live here at the SlabStox YouTube channel and podcast network. My name is Aaron, joined by Nate today. Nate is back. Last week he was flying back home from the National, but now he is back here. Welcome back, Nate.
Thank you. I am back, and if you are new to the live stream today, or you weren't on the PWCC live stream last night, you'll notice that Aaron has really gone fancy on us and put in a SlabStox LED sign.
Oh yeah, very, very cool. Very, very cool. Also, by the way, anyone that was at the PWCC Flip Quest last night here on the SlabStox Live and knew that Hank had to jump in the lake, the deed has been done. He has jumped in the lake, and the video will be revealed here very soon on the SlabStox Instagram page. So I'm pretty excited about that.
I will be sending $10 into the SlabStox Camp Kesem charity page.
As will I. As will Timothy Cannon, if he's listening here. Just know that it did happen, and we will be posting a video. We'll also post the YouTube shorts. But before we get going with today's live stream, I want to point out one thing is that also from last night's Flip Quest stream, Nate and a couple other people claim that there were stadium cards in like every single year of Topps flagship, which I have received a message now that just says not true at all from Bangers and Wax on Instagram, a good F1 buddy, that says that they were only in 2019 and it was an 8 to 10 year stretch before they got put in. They have not been put in since.
Well, there you go. So I was crazy. Again, not something I'm paying attention to, even if I do rip it, you know?
Exactly. And he's been searching for an Orange Giants Oracle Park one for forever. So I'm assuming if he's been searching for one for a long time, that he very well knows the set more than us. What's up, Dylan? And what is up, Tech? Good to see you all. Shout out to Tech. We will say why in a little bit. But today we are talking about, is the market bouncing back? A lot of people in the last 6 months to a year obviously have seen a lot of different sports cars decline in price. Certain ones increase in price, like a Lamar Jackson Downtown Gold Vinyl PSA 10. But there's also been a good amount of stuff in the last month that we're looking at that actually is starting to get a little bit of a resurgence, a little bit of action back to it. And looking at all the different monthly indexes, a lot of them have dropped in a much smaller capacity than they were in June and May before that. They're kind of starting to stabilize the drops to where almost you start to think maybe 2 months from now, you might start to see some gains as the new seasons are starting up for like football, basketball, and hockey. Baseball is hitting the playoffs, and F1's hitting the second half of the season. And of course, soccer Premier League started this past weekend as well.
So is it like a runaway, real quick, fair stop? And is he basically just a runaway at this point?
Yeah, unless something drastic happens, like he DNFs like 5 times of the last like 9 races, and Ferrari wins like 6 or 7 of the last 9. Yeah, he pretty much is going to win. It's like last year it was him and Lewis all the way down to the end. This year it's just like with the Ferrari's issues and Mercedes not being as good to start the season, but now they're really good. Now Lewis has podium 5 straight races. Yeah, but next year should be super competitive. I have very high hopes for next year be extremely competitive with Mercedes getting even better. Before jumping into the rest of the content for today's stream, I want to shout out that there from a week from today is the deadline to have. Well, actually, it's less than a week from today. The last day that you can have cards delivered to us to make it into the August 15th SGC submission is the 14th, and the 14th is a Sunday, which means that they have to be to us by Saturday the 13th. So if you're sitting here tonight on Monday night, or you're listening to this on Tuesday morning on podcast, please get your submission together and go to slabstox.com/grading. We have the August promo going right now. This is the only time this promo is going to be offered for all of you. It is the grade 5, get 1 additional free. As you can see here, we made up different coupon codes to kind of work with everyone's different grade amounts that they want to do. Last week, we just had one coupon code, the NTL22. This week now, we have NTL22 gets you the 1 additional free for grading 5 cards. NTL222 gets you 2 additional free for grading 10 cards, and that's so on and so forth. Like if you go down to grading 50 cards, you get 10 free. So the code is NTL2210 for 10. Pretty self-explanatory, but I hope that everyone.
If I wanted to grade 500 cards, NTL2250.
No, we do not have these things scaling all the way up to 500. Please contact me if you want to grade over 50, info@slabstox.com, because it would take me a long time to build all these different coupon codes out. But we do have it up to 50, and someone actually did just put through a 50 or 60 card order today. So if you are interested in grading in large capacities and getting that code to work, please let me know. We can set that up super easily for you. And the link is right now in the YouTube comments. It's also in the description of this video. But like I said, getting your order soon. Tech just sent his out today. What's up, Bad Luck City? Good to see you. And this comes down to around like just under $20 a card right now. So it'll normally be $23 a card, which is going to be the lowest you can find. But right now it's just right under that $20 amount, just for August though, just for August for the promo. We already had a submission to actually go out right when we got back from the National for some of the stuff we bought there, and a couple other people's cards. And it arrived on Friday the 5th. Of course, then it's the weekend, so not business days. And Nate, it was already graded today. Arrived on Friday the 5th, already graded today. So that's like, what, 1.5 business days of it turnaround time, technically, from the time it arrives to the time it's graded. Pretty crazy. I'm expecting it to get shipped out tomorrow, or the day after that. So it should be like right at 3 business days, which is unreal. And also, here's just a screenshot of the order form on the website. It's extremely easy. Go to the order form on the website, slabstox.com/grading. Start filling it out. You can either submit via manual entry or upload a spreadsheet if you have a spreadsheet with a bunch of cards on it. And then also, if you see this right here, the semi-rigid holders, it says optional, but you do have to select how many semi-rigid holders you need us to provide for you when you ship us your cards. If you send us in top loaders, we're going to have to change them out into semi-rigid holders, because when we send in submissions with multiple hundreds of cards, they all have to arrive in card savers, so it's easy for them to take them out so they don't damage them. But because of that, you'd then have to order them from us, or you put them in your own semi-rigid holders before they come to us. If you're like, what the heck is a semi-rigid holder? If you know what card savers are, Cardboard Gold makes them. These are what card savers are. Well, that's actually not the actual card saver.
Do you have an example?
This is the actual card saver right here. It's like pretty.
Wait. Can we make you a little bit bigger?
Yeah. All right. There's a card saver in my hand right now. It's got the little lip at the top. It kind of pops open like so. You can see me through it right now. You need to slide your card in there and send it to us, or we'll replace them for you. You just got to make sure you order them on the website. And then we're all good to go. So please check out slabstox.com/grading. Like I said, get your cards in ASAP, because that first submission does get sent out in the mail August 15th. If they arrive on August 15th, they're going to get included in the August 30th send out submission. Very important to keep in mind. For last night's podium on the PWCC weekly auction for 29, that Lamar Jackson we talked about a million times throughout last night in 5 at 5. So for $21,600, you got a Kobe flawless greats that ended at $17,400, and then an Otani gold refractor auto at 50 PS of 10 ended at $13,800. And the public has made it known through early voting that Kobe Bryant would be the best bang for the buck of all those. And I understand that for sure, because it's a Kobe patch auto. You can see the 2 and the 4 on the patch, which is pretty sick. But there's also so many Kobe autos out there to where if you're thinking about like what's the most unique piece I can get, it's obviously Lamar Jackson. Also, probably the most risky on this list too is Lamar Jackson. So
MVP, going to lead his team to the playoffs again. No big deal.
Well, it's definitely the most risky regardless of what you say, Nate, I think. I mean, I guess some people could argue the Otani gold auto also. Kobe, I guess maybe you could say Kobe, because there's so many Kobe autos out there, obviously, like between Flawless and Panini products. Either way, people made their minds clear. And then we had a couple trenders here. One up, one down is Zion's Green courtside rookie number 5 BGS 9.5 sold for $10,500. That is a 15% increase from 2 months ago, but Wander dropped 25% from 2 months ago. Been injured, has been a little bit, in a slump, as Nate pointed out in our market report. That's going to be releasing very soon this year. So the worst time to sell is during injury or a slump, and people are happening to do both right now with Wander, which seems to not be a great call, right, Nate?
No, a terrible call. If he had been playing hot and was just injured, that's one thing. If he was just slumping, that's another thing. But having had played poorly and then gotten injured, you're getting the double whammy there of market drops. I don't know why you'd sell right now. It's insanity to me.
Seriously. And Zion Williamson is 62% voted on for, yes, a good buy right now, which is kind of funny because I feel like it's kind of been in the good buy category for a few months now. Eventually, maybe he becomes to not a good buy, and instead it's a good sale or a good sell. We'll have to see as the season leads up. Here's a cluster of cards you could have bought for around $100 or less last night as well. Notably, you could have gotten that sick Rafael Devers, actually. I mean, from 2018 Tribute of 99 for $103.
That is
count me in on that. That's pretty sick. And if you like football, there's a CeeDee Lamb and Chase Young there going for around $100. But now on to today's main segment, which is going to be talking about is the market rebounding. And what made me first think to do this little topic here is, one, the National is done, but two, we had some cards sell last night during our Flip Quest episode that made me think, maybe some people, now that the National is done, they either sold a bunch of cards there, or they, bought and sold cards that they had that came back with them from the National, whatever it is. They're sitting at home. Maybe they have more money to spend, whatever it is. Summer's winding down, less travel, less vacation. Kids are getting ready for school. So we had some cards that sold last night and some cards that sold the week before the National. So it's actually a perfect comparison because they're basically the same cards. So before the National, we had this Max Verstappen purple refractor out $3.99, SGC 9.5 sold for $48 seller net to us. That's the amount of money we received for selling that card on July 24th. Now, last night, it's not the exact same card, but it's pretty darn similar. It's just a different picture of him smiling. The same purple refractor out $3.99, SGC 9.5 sold for $80. That's about double the sales for us right there. $80 after the National, $48 before. Now, the only thing I'd say about Max is that it has become more clear since the last race in Hungary that he probably will end up winning a second straight title, although that probably still could have been assumed before Hungary. So, I mean, I don't know if that's enough to swing a double, just that specific, sentiment. Next up will be Lewis. This is his SGC Refractor 10 for his driver number 2 card, sold for $43 before the National.
Were these our sales?
Yeah, these are our sales. I said that.
All of them? Okay.
Yep. But then we'll jump into, obviously, other cards too.
Yeah.
So this one sold for $43 before the National. The exact same card sold for $63 last night after the National and into August. Now, Lewis also just podiumed for a 5th straight time, but still, I think that's a pretty big increase on a card that, for that much cost. And then we've got the Monaco Refractor SGC 10 of Lewis Hamilton. We sold for $26 before the National on auction. And last night it sold for $44. So not double, but it's still a substantial increase. And that's just 3 cards I picked out there were pretty much the exact same. Oh, just kidding. There's a 4th here. So this one sold for $22. This Refractor SGC 10. This is from France. And then last night it sold for $47. So over double last night. Clearly the sales were much better last night.
Some people are asking why you sold any before the National.
Well, we had doubles or triples on just about every single one of those cards I just showed. So I figure at least sell
also
one or two
makes
before.
Good content now. So
it does make good content. Look at that. We found out it was an A/B test, Nate. I was thinking about it. Well, regardless if I was thinking about it explicitly or not, it still was the thought about sell some before, then sell some after. And now we got to here where the sales were just about double on all the cards after the National and then before, which is crazy to think. And that's not happening for like every single card that's selling in the marketplace, obviously. Not even all the ones we sold last night. This is like 4 of the 7 that we sold. But still.
It's a good reminder to people that timing, everyone knows it, but sometimes you're just like, I'm just going to get my cards up and sold. Who cares? Timing was $100 difference between, under $100 cards being sold. Sold 4 of them, and there was $100 plus difference in a week, 2 weeks.
And that was only just from waiting to click list on weekly auction. Literally, that was it. That would just been like it was an extra $100 right there. But yeah, really, really cool to see, I'd say. And at the same time, that made us think, last night and today, well, is the market rebounding in other aspects? Because like I said, looking at card ladder, looking at sales volumes, looking at indexes, you can kind of start to see some stabilizing and maybe some bounce back in certain places. So what we have here is the chart of this daily sales volume on sales that they verify in card ladder. So the first week that you see here is all during the National from the 26th up to the 31st. That kind of hovered between like $350,000 and $600 in daily sales volume. This one here on August 1st, around $1 million, is probably because like a massive card got logged in, $500,000 card or something like that. But after that, the normal days were all like around $600,000 or more, except for one day here on 8/6. And then I think this was probably like a golden auction close or something that went up to like $2 million. But either way, you can kind of tell that the normal day-to-day card transactions that are verified on Card Ladder were higher than the week of the National. That also just has to do with more people spending less time on eBay, PWCC, wherever else during the National, obviously. But still, it kind of points to the fact that like if you're selling, you probably should not be selling online the week of the National or the weekend before. If you're buying and you aren't able to go to the National, not a bad time to sit on different marketplaces and try to scoop some deals.
It's true.
That's what I'm taking away from it. And now, Nate, let's get into some of the cards that we're seeing that are probably are definitely rebounding in some capacity leading up to maybe different seasons or different moments here.
Yeah, and it should be pointed out that obviously we're going to be looking at all cards that are rebounding. Not every card is going to be rebounding, and in some cases, there will be certain guys that are rebounding in the same card like a PSA 10 that's rebounding, a PSA 9, same card, same guy is dropping in the last month. So keep that in mind. These are very specific examples. And there's also going to be like, there's reasons some of these guys are going up and reasons some guys are going down. Mike Trout, I was looking at his cards earlier, and he had like 12 that had gone up in the last month, but like 30 something that had gone down in price in the last month. So you can cherry pick and grab a couple Mike Trouts and say, look, there is even if you're injured, you're going up now after the National. Not the case. Some of them are, but most of them aren't.
Yeah, definitely. Very card dependent. But I want to say one more thing, Dave, before you kick it off here with Lamar Jackson, is looking at the card ladder indexes. They track now. It's quite a bit. It's probably close to like 25 different indexes here between different sports, different eras, whatever you have it, different population counts and everything. If you sort by quarterly percent change over the last 3 months, there's only been one index in the green that has increased overall, which is a grouping of cards that make up something. And that was the pre-war vintage index that's grown 0.6% in the last quarter. If you look at the last month, it increases to 5 that have went up in price in the green in the last month now for all these indexes. If you look at the last week, it goes up to 8. 8 different indexes have increased in value in the last week. And a couple of them are really, really close to increasing, like soccer and racing and vintage and low end. So I'm not here to say that like all cards are rebounding. Obviously, like Nate just said, it's just interesting to see how time is kind of moving along here and how some of these things are starting to go back up in price. And it's obviously, like Nate said, not all cards. There's certain cards you're going to look at and let's just say, like, I don't know, a Camrash 2019 Prism base PSA 10. For that card to increase, it's going to take quite a bit of stuff for it to increase in price.
Yeah. And then just setting the table a little bit more, since you kind of worked my gears here a little bit. I try not to take any base cards, right? Try to take one from every sport, and if there's multiples from and from vintage, and if there's multiples from a sport, I will give the reasoning on why I grabbed it.
Okay.
Fair?
Yep.
All right. So first off, we've got Lamar Jackson, the most disrespected quarterback in the NFL. There is a number of quarterbacks I could have grabbed for this, but I took one of the higher movers in the last month in this Lamar Jackson Silver Premier level, I assume, PSA 9.
Yep.
And you can see that this is one of the rare cards that we have a 6-month trend on in this graph that is actually higher than it was 6 months ago. Most of them are higher 6 months ago, have dipped quite a bit in the July, from June to July leading up to the National, and then started rising at the end of July. And this is no different, but this is actually significantly higher than it was 6 months ago, 53% net gain. And I'm here for it. J.K. Dobbins officially cleared today. Lamar Jackson healthy, the rest of the team healthy, cornerbacks healthy. I think the Ravens, they were 7-5 last year, on their way to the playoffs before Lamar got injured. So,
and talk about a team that just had a ton of injuries in general, not just Lamar.
Yeah.
They were very hurt.
That's the crazy thing is they dealt with a ton of injuries before Lamar went down, and they were still 7-5. Now you get those guys back healthy with a healthy Lamar. Come on. Disrespect Lamar somewhere else.
Got a few comments here in the chat. One from Dylan saying that Max Verstappen's based on betting odds is around 90 to 92% odds of winning the Drivers' Championship. I would have to say that is, yeah, for sure. Chief, what's up, everybody? How we doing, Chief? Tim says good stuff today. I'm glad you enjoyed the discussion so far. And the D Team Sports Card says, will Mike Trout be remembered as David Wright 2.0? That is a scary thought.
That is a scary thought because Mike Trout, shout out David Wright, number one. I love that guy. So good. But Mike Trout was the safest outside of Tom Brady, LeBron James, and Michael Jordan. Mike Trout was the safest investment you could do in all sports. He was under 30. I mean, he just turned 31 now, but like when people were like, I got to invest in him, under 30, already a Hall of Famer, retired that day, would have been a Hall of Famer. You're expecting him to kind of be really good in his early 30s and then slowly fizzle out late 30s and get into the 100+ win above replacement, into the 120, 130, 140, maybe even. Now we're at age 31 season. He's been injured multiple years in a row. He's barely getting any games, and he's good when he's in there, but it's no longer the safe investment that everyone thought it was going to be, and that's kind of the scary thing about cards.
Definitely super scary, I'd say. And it also tells you that maybe whoever it is, it's never a bad time to take profit on a card. Now you might miss out on a lot of profit down the road, but if you kind of keep the engine churning, you'll make it up along the way, I promise. As long as you don't, if you sell one card and take all your money out, yeah, you're not really going to go very far.
Aaron, there's always a next guy because Jackson Churio was an unranked prospect before the season by Baseball America. They released their update today, and he was ranked number 2.
That's insane.
From unranked to number 2, which just goes to show you that there is always somebody else. And if you had invested early in Jackson Churio, obviously his prices were pretty expensive, you would be raking in the money today.
Definitely. All right, moving on to the next card here. Nate, why don't you take this one because I got a couple coming up I was going to talk about.
All right, so this one's a little bit stupid, only 3 sale prices, but I liked it anyways because it kind of just shows you that still, even a card that only sold 3 times and basketball, it dropped coming out of the National or during the National 731, rose back above what it sold back in February when he was playing.
Can I point out, I don't know for a fact, I'd have to go and look here, but like that 717 sale around there, it could have been an auction. Most likely it was an auction. Just always know that if you're selling something on auction, especially, around the national time or even before the national during the summer, you never know who's going to be missing your listing. It's very, very risky, I'd say, to auction off cards during the summer, specifically at just random times you might choose. Obviously, like what we did last night, selling some stuff in the PWCC weekly auction when it's an event and people are there to see it, to watch them go down, a little bit different. But if it's just like a random time, like I bought a card on eBay prior to the National that ended at like noon on a Sunday, and it sold for like 30% of the value. And I took it to the National and instantly sold it for 3 times more because it wasn't valued, that low. I just got lucky on the buy. So seriously, like be careful auctioning off stuff during July, especially. Now we're into August. More people are going to be watching auctions. More people are going to be buying cards. We can already see it. But just know that. And what's up, Dan? How we doing? And as we go throughout tonight's stream, anyone that has questions, comments, has input on the players we're talking about, feel free to leave them in the comments and we'll bring them up. We'll also try to prompt some questions as we go too. Yeah. Next one that we have here is Juan Soto. Nate, you can talk about Juan Soto as a player in a second, but just for this chart specifically, I just want to point out that the $9,000 or that's like an $8,500, $9,000 sale right there, that happened like the day he was traded. I'm sure someone just jumped on and basically offered whatever they could to get one right away. More have been listed since he got traded, and people are trying to capture that type of sale price. So the next one that sells will be lower than the 9K, but still a huge, obviously, increase. So
still significantly higher than what it was on June 20th.
Oh, yeah. Even if you look at these 2 points here, it's way higher than these at the bottom.
Yeah. And we bring up Juan Soto because obviously it's a nice chart. Even an increase there. Obviously, the next sale will probably be a decrease from 6 months ago or whatever. But you have a ton of points here on your chart, and you can see how it bottomed out June into July and then started rising end of July, which is the case with all of these cards. I will have a second baseball card coming up of a guy that was not traded and did not have the boost in value from a trade or from a projected trade.
Got you. Well, we'll look at it in a little bit because first off, we got Sebastian Vettel here. Now, he had a bounce back for a different reason. Like Nate brought up, there's kind of a lot of different things you got to think about when we're talking about cards that are on the bounce back. It's not always just related to, oh, it's not July anymore. Oh, it's after the National now. Sebastian Vettel retired or announced his retirement. He's still racing through the rest of the season. Right when this card hit the low that it's hit as a PSA 10, which was around like $80, and instantly people went and scooped them up around 200, 225. It's not an insanely high population card because not that many people are grading base sapphire Vettels like they were Hamiltons or Verstappens, but still it led to a rise into August now, and I expect his cards to be pretty stable going forward. A lot of people love Vettel, and he's a 4-time world champion, which is just about more than everyone that's raced ever, except for, Hamilton and Schumacher, and I think potentially one more above him at 5. But still pretty crazy. He had 4 straight with Red Bull. And then before Nate's baseball, I added in a couple sales here that weren't on charts. So this one right here is a Josh Allen Optic Hollow PSA 10. This sold today, hence it not being on the chart yet. But this PSA 10 sold for $1,650 today on a buy it now. 6 days ago, it sold for $1,200 on auction. So talking about the auction buy it now deal again, an auction sold for $1,200. There was one sale after at $1,400, and now there was the most recent sale today at $1,650. So within the last week alone, this thing's went for $1,200, $1,400, $1,650. And definitely as the season approaches and Josh Allen is just getting like hyped out of the world right now, given he's like number one in fantasy rankings. The Bills are supposed to win the Super Bowl. He's supposed to win MVP. That's the makeup of a guy who's going to rise in price quite quickly leading up to the season. We'll see what happens from here. Obviously, the guy's got a ton of talent, but another card that's on the rebound. Nate, you threw a Pokemon in here.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Pokemon, so I may have just chosen the stupidest one, but it was had high growth. It had a lot of points on the chart. And as far as I know, Chansey is not playing any sports, and yet end of July into August, what did his prices do? They rose.
Probably his or her. It's probably ambiguous one.
Fair, but it's still crazy to see that even a non-sport, like a Pokemon, and there is that jut there in the middle of July, right? So you could have said, oh well, it did it twice, but it's even a little bit higher than what it was middle of July, and it's just interesting to me. It's almost like somebody probably went to the National, didn't find what were looking for, and bought this on eBay like the very next day.
Seriously, it's kind of like what it seems like. Someone asked, Dylan said, is there a Card Ladder Pro promo? Want to check out the site more? There's not a like certain percent off promo for it, but if you click the link I sent into the YouTube description, it's also into the chat. It's also in the description. That gets you a free trial that you can start to use Card Ladder Pro and see if it's valuable enough to you to sign up. Should I pick up a 2021 Topps F1 Hobby? Bad Luck City says, I would not. If you're speaking about the paper product, I would not pick up a hobby box of it. The cards don't sell very well as singles for the paper, and even some of the chrome ones don't either from 2021. And if I were you, I would just take whatever money that would cost and buy the best 2020 single you can of your favorite driver from the first year release. That would be my recommendation. Yes, Nate.
So if nobody cares about 2021 stuff, and
Yes,
presumably nobody will care about 2022,
unless
there's
Oscar
a big
Piastri
rookie,
had
right?
what?
Unless there's a big rookie coming out, like there is, people still care about Mick in 2021, but the rest of it they don't really care about. And if you're only getting like one rookie a year,
Yeah.
then hard to keep value. So does that say to me I should just buy up all the 2020, because as the years go on, it will still be, hey, buy 2020, buy 2020, buy 2020, despite 2023 coming out, 2024 coming out? And if so, why am I sitting here buying baseball when it looks like if nobody's going to care about anything but 2020, why should I waste my money on anything else?
That's a good question. I mean, all I gotta say is if you went to the National and if you had F1 cards that were 2021, you walked up to an F1 buyer, seller, collector, aka us or other people, I would probably venture to guess you probably would not have a good chance of selling your 2021 cards. The only 2021 cards I touched were mixed rookies from 2021. I bought an orange refractor portrait of him, number out 25. But Nate brings up a very, very valid point. There's gonna be new releases coming out every year for Formula One now. If people don't want them, like what does that say for the market? It definitely says that 2020 is gonna be the most valuable going forward, but it also means that it's gonna cost you the most right now. I mean, that's still the sentiment today, is that I only want to buy 2020, not only me, but others too. And it's gonna be very, very interesting to see, I guess, because like as a Pierre Gasly collector and stuff, I see no reason for me to necessarily like buy 2021 cards unless it's a specific card like his Monza win where he had a card that I bought one of. Like that is a very specific type of card though. The only other thing is like in 2023 when Oscar Piastri will have his rookie card, then that set could be valuable given that the scarcity is right, the design's right. The big problem in 2021 is the design is super ugly. I just can't stand it. Like that's the other problem too. There's just not nice looking cards. Another thing that I would
if there's only one rookie, okay, irregardless if 2021 is an ugly card, if it's only Mick Schumacher you're going after,
yeah, and Yuki's got a rookie too, but he's not super softer.
Isn't he gonna like lose his seat?
He doesn't have a long-term agreement yet, or even an extension for next year yet. He could keep it. He probably will keep it.
So I guess I'm just curious if you're projecting ahead that it's only one rookie a year and that's not going to be enough to keep a product up. Like if you're just chasing one guy out of an entire product, and the product is expensive, it's not worth ripping.
The only other thing I'd throw out there, Nate, is that autos will constantly hold value of these guys from probably all the sets. You just don't want to buy it right out of release, because the 2021 autos definitely were more expensive when they get released. But what I will say is that people won't be able to afford like Lando Norris 2020 rookie autos because they're so expensive already. But you can afford a 2021 if you have like a $500 budget. So I think that for that reason, it'll keep releases interesting. They're going to come out, I'm sure, with Finest at some point here, which will have very cool autos, I'm assuming. But it definitely makes the products less valuable. But at the same time, it makes it affordable to rip. I mean, no one's going to be able to rip like $2,500 2020 boxes, but you can definitely rip. Let's say if a Finest box releases at like 250, I'm sure people will be doing that. So it's a give and take. One last point here before we move on.
Yeah.
Last point really quick is that I did hear, Nate, I've never seen this happen before in other sports. They are putting 2 years of releases in one season. You know how they were delayed from whatever happened, COVID, everything. 2021 just released at the beginning of this 2022 season. So like Mick was a rookie last year, but Mick's rookie cards released at the beginning of this season. They're going to release a 2022 set at the towards the end of this season. So then they get back on schedule for 2023 coming out, hopefully like right at the start of next season, I guess would be the hope. That's 2 releases in one season.
Okay.
It's interesting.
That is interesting. I guess I don't want to waste any more time. It's just one of those things where it's like, if I'm looking at a cheap purple out of $399 of a dude, and it's like he has somewhat of a future in F1, should I be buying a 2020 cheap purple and just sitting on it for years because they still might want his cards, but nobody's going to want the subsequent releases, and it's going to be harder to get 2020?
Yeah, I mean, I would have to say yes. I mean, that's what I'd say. I do have to shout you out, though. I mean, Will says, Nate, are you still doing a Dinging Corners equivalent? Missed that show. Nate, let him know the details.
I am, Will. If you go on to SlabStox on Spotify or Apple Podcast, right? Apple Podcast.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry. Got a little tickle in my throat. If you go on there and you look up SlabStox, you can find, it will say Dinging Corners, and then whatever the title of the show will be. And Jimbo Reyes and I from Jimbro Cards, or Jimbo from Kentucky Roadshow, we have been doing Dinging Corners podcast for 6-ish months, maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
Or 5-ish months, 4-ish months, something like that. So we've been doing 1-2 a week for a while now. So you can go check it out there.
Couple of comments I want to get to quick while we're on the F1 kick. Dylan says, as a signs collector, some people have been buying more of the signs Ferrari stuff in 2021 over his McLaren stuff in 2020. And that's the other point too, is that as drivers switch teams, you could definitely see a market pop up in certain releases for that type of stuff. Honestly, if the design wasn't so ugly for 2021, I also would want signed stuff from 2021 in the Ferrari gear. Timo, what's up? I see you said hi. You said, Aaron, I recently picked up an 85-star MJ second year, number 117. Do you think with the PSA grading the star number 101 rookie, this will bring attention to star cards? I would have to say yes. It definitely has brought attention to star cards, and it's made people look at them more. As Will pointed out, Timo definitely will bring more attention to him, he says, but probably the pump is already in. I'd stay on the sidelines right now on the 84 Jordans. Personally think it's an ugly card. Some of the stars are decent at least. Yeah, if y'all didn't see, the PSA 8, the newly graded PSA 8 star 84, they stopped grading them for a long time because of how many fakes there were out there. The PSA 8 sold for $115,000 this past weekend on Golden. At the same time, in the same auction, a BGS 8.5 sold for $36,000, which is 3 times lower. And there's a lot to unpack there.
But I have heard BGS truthers tell me that BGS over everything. So keep losing that money.
You have heard that, but also the 8.5 just did not look good. Like the quarters, honestly, I could never see that card getting a PSA 8 because the corners look so brutal on it. And that thing had a lot to do with the price difference.
That's fair.
Let's see here if there's any other good questions to pull up here. Will is on it. Will, we haven't seen you in here for a bit, so I'm sure you're very giddy to get some questions in. Trout is already Hall of Fame. Will he have a Pujols / Frank Thomas back nine? However, sure looking like it. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Nate, really quick thoughts on DeGrom. Too risky? Question mark. To me, he's clearly the best in the game. Just needs to stay on the field.
Well, that's the big. You hit the nail on the head right there. That's the big thing. With most guys, Trout included. with DeGrom, with a number of other players in recent years for any sport, when they're injured a ton, people start investing in them less and less and less. And so DeGrom, he's been injured a couple years in a row. Obviously, he's amazing. He is the quickest to what was that last night? He had the largest amount or the most strikeouts in MLB history for a guy with his 200th start and the lowest ERA. I don't remember what the stat was. Ridiculous. But it just went to prove that how amazing DeGrom has been. But if you can't trust him to pitch a full season, there's risk there. And he's already like 34 years old.
Definitely.
That being said, he will go down as the most dominant pitcher in an entire generation. And there is value there.
True. Tom says, I end up winning that PS9 Topps Museum Ruby Jumbo Patch Auto Billy Gilmore 25 all in for $55. Still a good price despite not getting a number. Are you saying a number from Chelsea? Yeah, I don't think he's in the first team right now. I do think he has a future somewhere. I don't know if it's with Chelsea. I wish it was. I still think that he's quality, but Tuchel just has his reasons, I guess. I still think for $55, that's hard to go wrong on that. Definitely, that's a good card, good price. Getting back to the cards that are on the rebound right now, we're looking at a hockey card, Alexander Ovechkin, PSA 9. Young Guns, this thing hit an insane price of $4,000 for a PSA 9. PSA 10s are probably just under $5K now. And quickly dropped way back down to around $1,500 and all the way down to probably around like $1,100 or $1,200. Recently, cards went up to around $2,000. I think $1,900 was the last sale, with multiple selling over $1,500. So definitely is on the rebound. I think people are going to be preparing for him to break the Wayne Gretzky scoring record here in the near future. I don't know if it's going to happen this season. I feel like the last time I looked at the records, he was probably like a 2-season pace off. But definitely, could get some action with
scoring,
the new season
but not
coming.
Points.
Goals, not points.
Okay.
No one's going to catch him in points. Just ridiculous the amount of points he scored.
Just making sure I wasn't understanding that incorrectly.
No, you got. Oh, yeah, he's 20 away from 800. I think he's still over like 50 or 60 away though from Wayne Gretzky's total. I'd have to look for sure. Or Dylan, you can let me know and I'll read it off. Next card we're looking at here is one that is not on the chart again, but this is a 2019 Topps Gold Fernando Tatis rookie PSA 9. So for $216 on June 26th, last night, one sold for $348. So he's nearing his return. Or correct me if I'm wrong, Nate, but I heard he was taking some batting practice in the minors. Maybe nearing his return for this season to pair up with Juan Soto. I guess you could say trio with Machado and Juan Soto too. But just a card that I feel like a lot of people would have forgotten about through the middle of the season, through the dog days of summer, and now with postseason around the corner, people are looking right back in at these Fernando Tatises. Will says, what are your schedules for lives these days? Just Monday afternoons? Will, we are on Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube, and we were on at Sunday nights at 9:45 p.m. Eastern time. We do our Flip Quest episode on PWCC Weekly Auction. If you haven't came yet, we really recommend for you to come. It's actually one of our most exciting pieces of content we do, and people love it. It's super fun time. Very rapid buying and selling, all that stuff. Gretzky's at 894, so yeah, definitely 2 seasons away at the minimum. Next up is soccer. We have a Lewandowski Kaboom PSA 9, dropped down around $300 end of July, right there, kind of in accordance with the national, but the last sale went back up to $450. Got in some game time with Barcelona this past weekend, just yesterday, I think, in a friendly against the Pumas. I think it's a South American team, but he scored, I believe. I'd have to look at the stat sheet again, but once again, a card here that kind of hit a low right around the end of July. Last sale just rebounded a bit. You got this one, Nate. Unmute, my guy.
I've been muting so much for little coughs here and there. I forgot to unmute. I wanted to get some older cards, not too old. 1982 is not that long ago. But 1982 Lawrence Taylor rookie BGS 9.5 here, and you can see dipped, a steady dip from April into all the way to the bottom in July 22nd. And then the 27th would have been like the start of the national, right? It just jumped right back up end of July. And the last sale has been a little bit lower, but it just goes to show you that not only is it ultra modern stuff that is having a rebound, but also vintage is having a rebound. If this is considered vintage, I'm not 100% sure.
What we know is it's pre-1986, which I think means something, at least on the PWCC side of it, because they do the eye appeal review for all cards 86 or before. Gabriel says Pumas is from Mexico. Don't disrespect them or else. Apologies, not from South America, from Mexico. Thank you for correcting me. And Dylan says that Lewandowski is an odd market. I don't think a lot of Bayern fans were enthused with him leaving. Yeah, I don't think a lot were either. I heard as he was driving out the final time from the Munich training ground, people were chanting him Hala Madrid for Real Madrid versus Barcelona. So I guess people were quite upset about that.
Man, you cheer for a guy for years. He leaves and you just turn coat and run.
I don't understand the whole thing behind that. I mean, he literally just like dominated for them in Germany, won all the different titles while he was there, and you disrespect the guy, but whatever. Zion Williamson, we actually already talked about this exact sale earlier. I forgot this was going to be in our weekly auction recap, but that is the select that sold for $1,000 more last night, or $1,400 more last night than it did back in June. Well, Ray Allen action, Nate.
Ayo. So again, same line of Lawrence Taylor, just slightly newer. Wanted to get something from the 90s in here, and the little 90s basketball. Who doesn't love 90s basketball? And who doesn't love the Bucks? Ray Allen, somehow the second greatest Buck to wear the number 34. But we got a 1996 Fleer Metal rookie PSA 10 that was dipping pretty hard starting in May, going into close to the end of July, but then shot right back up a day later. So even if you don't want to consider the July 17th, it still was on a dip June 19th and is up July 18th. So just more of the same.
You never know, though. Sometimes one-off sale, you really never know what happens and leads to one sale going higher. Like the next sale might be back down to $60, or it'll stay up at 120, and then you say, oh, it really was an increase. But this one, Ricky Henderson, 1980 tops PSA 9. There are quite a few of these, as you can see in the last 6 months. There's a lot of sales logged on the chart here. The centering on a lot of these are pretty tough, though. So the 9 does command a pretty awesome value, around $2,500, as these were not, these were not like a 50s or 60s card, which was, much harder to find graded copies. This was at 1980, which is kind of right around the highly printed cards were starting. And 1,500 up to 2,600 in the last couple weeks. Now, we must point out, though, with vintage, so let's just say pre-1986 or even around there, the eye appeal matters so much. Like that one that sold for like lower than $1,500 could have been the most off-center PSA 9 you could find. And now the one that sold for $2,500 could have been the most centered PSA 9 you could find. Just know that it does switch the prices quite a bit. It could lead to 20 to 30% swings in the market quite quickly. So, but still a card on the rebound.
Yep.
Here's your baseball card, Nate.
Yeah, so we put in Ronald Acuna because he's been playing well. He hasn't been playing as spectacular as he has the last couple of years. I think his OPS was in the 830s last time I checked, whereas last year before he got injured, he was running 990 OPS. But I wanted to put him in here because he hasn't been traded. There was no trade chatter around him like Juan Soto. He's not a Bowman Chrome auto. Wanted to get something different here, so we got the Topps flagship foil. And yet you can still see that June heading into July, it was headed down, and end of July rising right back up. And not for any like reason I can tell, not for any extended hot streak or anything like that.
What's up, Michael Brown? How we doing? Next up, we got some Formula One to look at again. This is a Sapphire Gold out of 50, SGC 9.5 from the driver number 2 card. Basically, it does not say Grand Prix. It does not say driver of the day. It is just a picture of the driver without any of the yellow stuff on it. And it's like consider their driver number 2 card versus their portrait. But beside the fact, this sold for $590 back on June 7th. This is serial numbered 40 out of 50. And this is a Pop 1. And that Pop 1 numbered 40 out of 50. So last night for $1,050 on PWCC's weekly auction. So maybe it could be a little bit of a different platform thing. Could be more of a post-national thing. Could be more of a Lewis Hamilton's podium 5 straight times. And people really enjoy his market with him when he does well, which is happening last year. So either way, I mean, substantial increase for the exact same card within 2 months right there. So congrats to whoever bought and sold that. Nice job. All right. Devin Booker. We got a Kaboom PSA 9 here from 2018. Steady rise over the last year. Nate, any thoughts here?
So I put this in because obviously it exploded within like the last year and a half. Kabooms from 2018, 2019, 2020. The Kabooms had their moment. And then Aaron, you and I talked about it. It seemed like they're kind of trending down a little bit from their height, and yet you can see that even a card that had its moment, was trending down, is still on the uptick end of July. Kind of a little bit unexpected. I think of all the cards I would have expected to have a rebound end of July, Kabooms would have been in last place.
I would probably happen to agree with that, especially with how as much as they were increased in price, and also potentially Devin Booker. I mean, I don't know, third straight season now where the Suns are going to be good, but is there much like, oh, Suns are going to win the title talk this year? I feel like not too much about that. Maybe that's just me though.
Yeah, you never know. You never know what happens. I mean, headed into the playoffs, it looked like the Bucks might win another championship, and then Chris Middleton goes down. So you never know what will happen.
That is 100% true. You really do never know. 2015 select Messi here, orange on 149 PSA 10, ended in the middle of July for $325 in auction there from Probstein on eBay last night in the PWCC Weekly. One of them, it's not the exact same picture, but is the exact same card. I mean, still card number 65, just has the dark blue jersey instead of the normal, light blue and white stripes down the jersey. It's sold for $690, which is a massive increase. It's over double. I know Messi had a great debut for PSG in his opening game in League One. 2 goals and assists. The assist was sick. He had the mini bicycle kick for a goal, for a second goal. And if he can dominate this year, man, it'll be fun to watch his market, because I know last year a lot of market cap of him was lost with the kind of, I'd say, a little bit invisible season with his first season in League One. Oh boy, James Harden.
Yeah. So again, of these last couple I've been putting in for very specific reasons. Can you take a guess at why I put in James Harden?
The only thing I could say is that he signed an extension that gave him less money. I don't know.
I put him in because people just don't like him.
Yeah.
Just in general. Like, there's not many people that like James Harden left in this world, just like, Kevin Durant, even though I like Kevin Durant.
You like Kevin Durant?
I do like Kevin Durant.
Since when? I thought, what?
I used to not like Kevin Durant, and now I kind of like Kevin Durant because of how ridiculous he is on Twitter.
Oh my gosh. You like a guy for his Twitter usage.
Well, it's just because he's so ridiculously unapologetic about it.
Okay, whatever. Move on.
Anyways, moving on. So I put James Harden in here because I think it's interesting. We have two factors here. One, base card. I know it's 2009 Topps base. That's underprinted, right? There was less of these than previous years because they were losing their license.
Definitely, and it was Topps Chrome and Topps combined into one set.
Okay, so you got that going for you, but it's a base card, and it's James Harden, and yet, despite those two things, you can still see end of July, August, a rise in price. Huge drop from its 6 months ago, but still a rise in price from
seriously. Chief just said, have you guys ever heard of the Nolan Ryan card set that has the black light ghost writing on them? I'm just wondering if this is a real thing or just a YouTube myth. I have not heard of that. Anyone in the comments, feel free to let Chief know if that is real or myth. What's up, Any Given Punch? Been a minute since I've seen you too. Welcome back. And our last card for today is another non-sport here, Nate.
Yeah, this was a very last-minute edition. A little bit of Marvel action. I was looking for PMGs, and I stumbled upon a bunch of 1990s Marvel Universe ones, and this had actually had the highest rise in the last month, so I threw it in here just to show that it was pretty steady. It was pretty steady all month. You can see that July little like bridge it's got going there, and right into August, what did it do? It popped right back up.
Little jump, and I don't think you'd find too much good news if you're looking for PMGs increasing in price. Those are still on the decline, and that Spider-Man just sold for $18K last week, and that sold for $72 8 months ago or so, or 9 months ago. And that is the last card we have in our bounce back sequence. Now, I do want to shout out really quick that if you do want to come and enjoy some soccer pack openings with us this week on Whatnot, please head over to the Whatnot app. If you've not downloaded it already, go to the description on this YouTube video or podcast, hit the link, and you can get $10 free credit when you sign up for your account. And we'll be live on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern time this week. Nate will be doing Wednesday. He'll be opening Merlin. He'll be opening Topps Chrome Bundesliga and Topps Finest. And then I'll be opening on Thursday a full case of Topps Finest 2021 Soccer Hobby on not release day. Actually, release day is Wednesday, but I'm going to be doing it on Thursday. But they'll all be 50% off packs. Buy it now. So you're going to have to come. It's going to be a great time if you like soccer. And it's your chance to get some affordable packs at good prices. I think there should be Holland autos in this set release. So I really hope we hit a Holland auto for $10. That'd be insane. And then Friday we will have a 3-team break of Sapphire, the new Sapphire release, which should be a good time as well. Now, we do have a few minutes left. So please, if anyone has any questions at all about the card market, about cards increasing price, decreasing price, what we might think coming up in this upcoming seasons, whatever it is, feel free to drop some comments in the chat because we'll just have an open Q&A session right now. And Dylan says, also, thank you for the tip yesterday on the PWCC fixed price marketplace. One of one's on there today. I did receive an Instagram message from Dylan. Nate, I mentioned yesterday, like really quickly, like, hey, if you like a player or collect someone or want to invest in someone, check out the fixed price marketplace. You never know what you'll find. And Dylan messaged me that he got a Mike Evans 1-of-1 triple patch auto for rookie for his collection and a Chris Godwin. I think it was a logo shield auto, NFL logo shield auto.
Oh, wow.
1-of-1.
I too went looking on the PWCC fixed price marketplace today. Did not find the guys I was looking for, but
Jackson Churio.
I was looking for Udoka Azubuike.
Well, I'll tell you what. I just saw a Pop 1 Independence Day Shohei Ohtani PSA 10 just got an offer on there. Pop 1, number out 76. It's a 10K or best offer.
What a card! Let's offer.
Right. Michael Brown, what are your thoughts on Deshaun Watson price, or what are Deshaun Watson prices looking like? 2017 Select Silver PSA 9 and 10, either or. Let me look for you really quickly here. There was definitely some pop in his prices when it was announced he's only getting suspended for 6 games. The NFL just appealed it. Obviously, Nate said last night, more a formality thing or a save face type of thing. We'll see what happens if it actually does get adjusted. All I can say is that in the last quarter, his select premier level PSA 10, this seems, up 117%. It says maybe one sale got popped for high buy now or auction. And then there was also some around 10% increases in some other select Concourse Silver PSA 10, just sold for $235, which is up for $171 from June 25th. So there you go, around $235 for a Concourse PSA 10 right now.
There you go.
Have you heard anything new regarding the PSG set cards releasing? I have not. All I've seen was the pre-orders that went live on like Blowout and DA for like $15K for a box. There's only like 240 boxes being created. I haven't heard anything else. What they're going to release for on Topps price-wise, when they're going to release, I really don't know. I think one day we're just going to wake up and they're just going to be there available for purchase. Did you see the 86 Fleer set 131 out of 132 cards sold? PSA 10 sold for $200K in golden. I did not. That's everything less the Jordan, obviously, because the Jordan would sell for $200K alone. That's pretty crazy. I don't know how much that set would normally go for, but it sounds like a lot of money. Question from Dylan: who do you think the next Cooper Kupp could be in terms of breakouts? Rashad Bateman, Kenneth Gainwell, maybe? Nate, I feel like you might have a hot take for this. Cooper Kupp breakout basically means becoming the leading statistical receiver in the NFL. So,
well, okay, not that, but can I say Amon-Ra St. Brown?
That's a good call, man. He looks pretty nice. Tell you what, he's way better than his brother.
He torched the Packers last year, and the Packers had a good defense.
Yeah, that is totally true.
And Jared Goff is obviously he's going to be throwing him the football again this year. But if the Lions got a good QB in there, so I'm going with Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I like it. I gotta pull up this chart here for I think it's Timo that asked about this one, so we can look at this card, because the best thing about vintage cards, I think, is how nice the cards look. So why not look at them while we talk about them? Asked about the 53 Topps Mantle card. Now, Nate, I think you've been on record saying this is your favorite Topps vintage set created.
Very much so.
This is the 53 PSA 4 we're looking at here of the Mantle. Hover between 4,500 to 5K to 7K, 9K on one sale. I'm sure that was like the most perfect PSA 4 you've ever seen. Down to 4,700. Long term, Nate, I know that you might not be a vintage guy yourself, but do you think some of these, like, this is obviously the second Topps release of Mantle ever. Kind of hard to go wrong, it sounds like.
I would agree. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that cannot afford in any version a 52 Mantle.
Definitely. I mean, what, a 52 male PSA, even a PSA 1 is probably like 50 grand or something like that.
Well, probably not that high.
Well, I mean, some have hit 42. It just depends on the eye appeal. 22 to 42.
Okay.
So yeah, exactly. And the 53, you can get a PSA 3 for around 4K, a PSA 1 for around 2K. To me, like this is if you're not a Bowman fan, which honestly, I kind of like his Bowman cards. Have you ever seen the 1951 or 2 Bowman, Nate? Not his rookie, the 51, but the 52 is just like a spectacular card. That is just such a good card. I love it.
That's pretty sweet.
I think it's awesome. Well, that's the 52 Bowman. The PSA 2 is around 2.2K. And then if you want to get a rookie, PSA 2 rookie of Mantle from 1951 Bowman is around 12.6 to 15K. So there you go. We might not be the vintage experts in the slightest, but at least we can look at the cards and say if we like them or not, based on the looks. That's for sure.
It's true.
If there's any other questions, feel free to drop it in right now as we'll get a couple more answered, and then we will be going on for the rest of the night. No more have came in yet, so we'll just hang around for a couple more seconds and see what's up. But I just want to shout out one more time. If you have not yet, like I said, the deadline is approaching for the August 15th submission for SGC for this month. Please go to slabstox.com/grading now to go and submit your cards. While I'm here, I might as well just start the screen share to end the stream off. So if you go to slabstox.com/grading, you're going to stumble upon this nifty little website right here. It's got an order form. You'll click start now, and you just type in the quantity of cards you want to grade. You can adjust it on page 2 as well. But if you put in 5, you'll grade 5 cards. You select how many semi-rigid holders you need from us. If it's 0, because you have semi-rigid, it's perfect. If it's 5, you put 5. And then you check the submission group. If you click the 15th, that means you want your cards to get shipped to SGC on the 15th, but they have to be to us by the 14th. If you click the 30th, that means that they'll get shipped to SGC on the 30th. And then you type in your IG or whatnot username if you want to. Next up, you can either enter your cards manually, your year, self-explanatory, the set, Bowman Chrome, player, Jackson Churio, attributes, base, or fractor at 499, or speckle, or blue, whatever it is, and then a declared value. Just put down an estimated value of the card post-grading. And then if you don't want to do manual entry, you can also upload a Excel spreadsheet here too. That will save you some time. Just make sure to put in the total declared value. If it's $2,000, you click next, you click checkout, yada, yada, yada. There you go. You get your grading, you ship us the cards, and make sure to read the FAQs if you have not already too. Yes, Tech, hoping his cards grade well for the PWCC auction. We hope they do for you too, as we'll be shipping those right to your PWCC vault. You can also select that as an option if you want to. Any given punch, will you guys be attending the Burbank show? I think I asked this before, but checking again. We will not be. That's coming up very soon here post-national. I think that I'm actually out of town anyways when that is going on, but I would love to go check it out at some point whenever the next one is. I've never been to California before, so it would be a good opportunity to do so. But with that, we'll just do the last one here from Dylan. Would you rather invest in soccer players, national team kit or club team kit? That's a great question. For me, it depends on who it is. Mason Mount, I have like one card in his English kit. It's actually his rookie auto from Select, which I think is one of his best cards. They're so short print. It's one of his only, if not his only, rookie logo with the English kit on. But it just depends, like I said. What has the player done for each place? How long has he been in the club for? Is he a club legend? Is he a national team legend? It just really depends, honestly. But yeah. All right, Nate. You ready to call it quits? Actually, David brought up a good point here just to end off the stream. Ignoring the current financial climate is a mistake, which I will say we do point it out quite a bit through all of our different content, if it's through Instagram posts, if it's through emails, the Daily Slab. On YouTube, we bring up a lot. But he says not just cards, but all investments. Art, cars, stocks, and all investments are changing. I think cards have done pretty good. So David, with a nice little caveat there that I would actually happen to agree, rare cards are holding it pretty good through this, depending on what it is and what the season is.
I will say this in regards to stocks. Just checked my 401k for the first time, and it was actually up, which was surprising. A number of the stocks I'd invested in. Now, obviously, it had been higher. It had been higher before, but from what I had invested in them till now, it was up. And if you would have asked me 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, I'd have been getting hammered. So
there you go.
There is at least a little bit of rebound in a lot of places.
And I want to point out that tomorrow, I believe it should be going up tomorrow, is our market report for July on 137pm.com. The blog, it will be very good. This is a really good market report, recapping the national, recapping the changing market, the data, all that stuff. I point out in that market report that cards often lag behind the changing market of both stocks and stuff like crypto, because stocks and crypto are super liquid and can reflect changes in the markets immediately. For cards, it takes time. Transactions in the card space are not super fast, and for them to get logged on to indexes and sales to happen and auctions to close, all that stuff takes weeks, if not months. And then by the time that we look up 2 months from now, we might be seeing the effects of the stock market going really well in July, because it was a good increase in July. So I just want to point out that the card market, we could be sitting here and looking at some green pretty soon because of that. So very excited to do some more live streams in the future. And just want to thank everyone once again for joining tonight's SlabStox Live at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. For our next live stream coming up, it will be on Sunday for the Flip Quest number 30 at 9:45 p.m. Eastern Time. If you don't want to wait until then, be sure to download Whatnot and check out our breaks and different pack openings starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. With that, have a great rest of your week, and we will talk to you